It was supposed to be the perfect summer. Warm nights, swimming in the lake, no responsibilities. My best friend's parents had a cabin by the water, remote, no neighbors for miles, just woods and silence. We arrived in the afternoon. The sun was heavy. The air smelled of pine and damp earth. We unpacked quickly, eager to explore. By evening, we were out on the dock. The lake was still. So still it looked like glass. No ripples, no breeze, just our reflections staring back at us. That's when I noticed it. A ripple, slow, deliberate, like something moving beneath the surface. I laughed it off. Fish, maybe, but my friend frowned. He'd grown up here. He knew that lake, and he whispered, "There aren't supposed to be fish that big." We went inside as the sun sank. The cabin was cozy, wooden walls, old pictures of his family on the shelves. But the windows, they were huge, and when the night came, it felt like the darkness pressed right against the glass. Around midnight, I woke up. Something had pulled me from sleep. Not a noise exactly, more like a feeling, like eyes on me. I sat up. The room was dim, moonlight spilling in through the trees, and that's when I saw it, at the edge of the dock. A shape, tall, motionless, staring straight at the cabin. I froze. My throat went dry. It wasn't a person. The proportions were wrong, too long, too thin. Its head tilted, slowly, like it knew I was watching. I shook my friend awake. By the time he sat up, the dock was empty, just moonlight on wood, ripples in the water. We stayed awake the rest of the night, listening, waiting. But nothing happened. Morning came. We convinced ourselves it was exhaustion, a trick of the eyes. But when we stepped outside, the boards of the dock were wet, soaked, as if something had stood there for hours. That night, we left the lights on, every lamp in the cabin. But around 2 in the morning, the power cut out. The silence was crushing. No hum of electricity, just the creak of wood and the slow lap of water. And then, footsteps on the dock, heavy, slow, each step closer to the cabin. We didn't move. We didn't breathe. The sound stopped right outside, just inches away. Then, a knock. 3 times, on the glass. We ran, through the back door, into the woods, branches cutting at our arms, hearts pounding so loud we could barely hear. We didn't stop until we reached the main road. When the police went back with us the next day, the dock was destroyed, snapped clean in half, like something massive had risen from the water and pulled it under. We never went back.
It was the summer before college. My parents thought a week in the mountains would be good for me. Fresh air, quiet nights, a chance to reset. The cabin wasn't ours. It belonged to a family friend. Old, creaky floors, windows that didn't quite shut all the way. The first 2 nights were fine. Warm evenings on the porch, cicadas singing in the trees. I read books, watched the stars. But on the 3rd night, things changed. I saw him, just beyond the tree line, a man, standing perfectly still, watching the cabin. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, but when I looked again, he was gone. I told myself it was my imagination, too many ghost stories, too much time alone. But the next night, he came closer. I was brushing my teeth when I heard it. The floorboards of the porch, creaking, slow, deliberate. I froze, toothbrush still in my hand. The creaking stopped, right outside the bathroom window. My heart pounded. I turned off the light, peeked through the glass. A shape, tall, leaning forward, breathing fog against the glass. I stumbled back, nearly dropped the toothbrush, and then the sound of footsteps retreating, back into the woods. I didn't sleep that night, not a minute. In the morning, I checked the porch. Footprints, muddy, leading from the tree line right up to the bathroom window. I called my parents. They told me it was probably a hiker. Don't overthink it, they said, but I knew better. That night, he returned. Around midnight, the sound of footsteps again. Closer, heavier, and then the knob on the front door, turning, slowly. I grabbed the phone, dialed 911 with shaking hands, but before anyone picked up, the knob stopped. The footsteps faded. The operator answered. I explained everything. They said a unit would drive out in the morning. Morning, not now. I sat awake the rest of the night. Every shadow stretched too long. Every sound magnified. The police came, checked the area, found more footprints, leading away from the cabin. They told me he was gone, but they didn't look convinced. That evening, I packed. I left before the sun set, and I've never gone back. Some summers are never forgotten.
It was supposed to be paradise. A week by the ocean. Sun, sand, the sound of waves to fall asleep to. My cousin invited me. Her family rented a beach house every summer. But that year, the house was different. Older, more isolated. The kind of place the locals didn't talk much about. When we arrived, the air inside was stale, like it hadn't been opened in years. Dust floated in the sunlight, streaming through cracked blinds. The floors groaned under every step. We laughed it off. Told ourselves it was just character, vacation charm. But I felt it, that quiet unease. The way the walls seemed to listen. The first night, we sat on the porch, watched the waves crash, the moon rising over endless water. That's when my cousin froze. She pointed. Far down the beach, a figure, walking slowly along the shoreline. At first, nothing strange. People walk the beach at night all the time. But this one didn't move like a normal person. Jerky, uneven, like its joints bent the wrong way. We watched. Silent. The figure stopped, turned toward us. Even from that distance, I swear it saw us. And then, it vanished. One moment there, the next, gone. We went inside, locked the doors. But that night, I dreamed of waves pulling me under, hands dragging me deeper, cold, endless. I woke up gasping, heart racing, and then I heard it, scraping, at the window, slow, drawn out, like fingernails across the glass. I sat up. My cousin stirred. We looked at each other. Neither of us wanted to check. But the sound stopped, and silence filled the room. In the morning, the glass was streaked, not with fingernails, but with sand. Wet, as if someone pressed a soaked hand against it. We didn't tell her parents, didn't want to sound crazy, but that night, it escalated. We heard footsteps on the porch, soft, bare feet against old wood. Then, the door handle, turning. Clicking. Slow. We froze. No one moved. And then, a whisper. Right against the door. Too soft to understand, but low. Urgent. We didn't sleep. Not until the first light touched the water. At sunrise, we walked the beach. The sand was smooth, except for one set of footprints, leading from the water, straight to the porch. And they weren't barefoot, not really. The shape was wrong, longer, too many toes. We told her parents. They laughed, said it was probably some local kid messing with us. But the locals didn't come near that beach. We realized it later. They always stayed closer to town. That night, the whispering returned, this time louder, clearer. It wasn't words I understood, but it made the hair on my arms rise, like something ancient. Something not meant for me to hear. We barricaded the door, stacked chairs, dragged a table, sat against it until dawn. And when the sun rose, the chairs were wet, dripping with seawater. On the fifth night, we saw it again, far out in the waves, a shape rising, tall, towering. Like a man made of water and shadow, it stood against the horizon, then sank beneath the sea. The air felt colder after that. Even the sand seemed to recoil. That night, it chased us. Footsteps on the sand, not ours, behind us, closer, faster. We ran, hearts pounding, bare feet burning against the sand, and then the sound stopped. When we turned, no one was there, only the endless ocean. We burst back into the house, slammed the door shut, locked every window. But when I walked into the bedroom, the sheets were wet, soaked through, smelling of salt and seaweed. Something had been inside. Her parents called the police. 2 officers came, listened, checked the porch. But their faces said it all. They didn't believe us. We begged to leave. But her parents insisted we stay. Just one more night. That night was the worst. The wind howled, the waves roared, and over it all, knocking. On the porch, on the windows, everywhere. We huddled together, too scared to breathe. And then, the door burst open. Water rushed inside, cold, violent, sweeping chairs across the floor. And in the flood, a figure, tall, twisted, head bent at an impossible angle, skin gray, like drowned flesh. It reached for us, fingers long, webbed, dripping. We screamed, fought against the current, pushed through the back door, into the night. The ocean pulled at our feet, dragged us back. But we kept running. We didn't stop until we reached the highway, soaked, shaking, barely alive. In the morning, the house was ruined, windows shattered, floor warped, seaweed tangled in the furniture. The police said it was a storm surge, just bad weather, but we knew better. The ocean had tried to claim us, and something in it was still waiting. We never went back to that beach.